दिल्ली की तरफ, जहां प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी के ऊपर लिखी गई किताब का उपराष्ट्रपति वेंकैया नायडू इस समय उद्घाटन कर रहे हैं। सीधी तस्वीरें दिल्ली से।
Now, why is this relevant? Many leaders have had a tenure of 20 years, maybe less or slightly more. But in a democratic country like India, with such vast diversity, language, regions, culture, to be in a democratically elected leader for 20 continuous years, winning election after election, is a unique thing. India's uniqueness is also highlighted by the fact that we are a very, very youthful nation. We have the culture and the historical and the civilizational tradition of debates, discussions. It is rarely an idea that finds relevance for a significant period of time, and yet for 20 years, the idea of Modi, or should I say, the ideas by Modi, have held the nation in thrall. So this is a very, very special occasion, especially that this is happening in a democratic country like India, which is not an authoritarian state, which is not a controlled democracy, but a free democracy with judiciary, free media, and therefore this 20 years is important. Now, there are some obvious, visible, tangible markers through which we can measure these 20 years. The first, obviously, is that the Prime Minister has won every election on which he has been on a ticket. He has never been defeated. Be it 3 times as Chief Minister of Gujarat winning elections, or twice winning the Prime Ministerial candidate. And what is more significant is this, that his popularity never wins. He wins the next election with a greater majority. And in a country like India, where every 6 months there is some election from parliament to municipality, and incidentally Prime Minister himself becomes a factor even in a municipal election, this popularity is tested election after election after election, and yet for 20 continuous years running, Mr. Modi has led the thought, the process, the vision for the country for the last 20 years, 12.5 years as Chief Minister, 7.5 years, this month it will become 8 years as Prime Minister. So these are some of the obvious, tangible things that you can measure this. There is one more which we have highlighted in this book. Prime Minister is the first Prime Minister Modi is the first Prime Minister to be elected in office through public acclaim. Now, what do I mean by this? That before Mr. Modi, every other Prime Minister was either nominated in the post for the first time, later they may have gone and won majorities, or if they were nominated before the election, they did not get complete majority. Mr. Modi is the only Prime Minister who was nominated before the Prime Minister election and won absolute majority on his own. This is a unique achievement. No other Prime Minister has this achievement. So these are some of the tangible through which we can measure these 20 years. But what are the intangibles? The way the culture has changed. So I will list out just 3-4 because of paucity of time. One, and we have seen this recently also, that as a country, as a people, we are no longer satisfied with mere participation certificate. If we participate, now we want a position on the podium. So that is a great